Today I want to talk to you guys about something that I got inspired by, so to speak, when it came to one of my subscribers. They gave me the idea, actually. And that idea was, why don't I do an interview or talk to somebody who's been through something, whether it's a traumatic challenge, whether that's an adversity, anything, just as long as they overcame it or they're still struggling with it. Now, an adversity that I still struggle with to this day is truly trying to find not so much my purpose in life, but trying to find what it is I should be doing when it comes to not just YouTube, not just work related wise. Like, have you ever had a day where you look yourself in the mirror when you get up and you're like, okay, what am I doing with my life? Right? I'm getting older. Some people in my life remind me I'm almost pushing 30, and I have really nothing to show for it. And I thought, okay, this is what a midlife crisis is, right? But I'm not even really in my midlife. So it couldn't really be that. It has to be something else. So then I started thinking, okay, what could it really be? What's going on inside my head? Why do I feel like this? And when I started picking it apart, I realized it's not so much that I'm upset with my position in life. It was the place that I was at. I have a loving family. I have people that care about me. And if I'm taking a risk, whether it's to this channel, whether it's creating content, or simply just trying to move on in life, I need to be comfortable enough to take that risk. Because if I'm not, then I'll stay exactly where I'm at. There were people in a place that I was at that were so miserably unhappy that I let them affect me. And that's never something I like to do. I don't even like to admit that, but it was getting me to the point where I couldn't think straight. Sometimes my videos would come out lackluster. And I feel like I was just trying to push out things to do, like going through emotions, I guess. It's never what you should do in life. When I had this realization is when things really started to change. Now, the realization I'm talking about is I realized people are never going to be happy with what they have, right? They're always going to want either more. They're always going to want something different. They're always going to be looking. And how you perceive that and what you do is your decision, right? Now, for example, being in that situation, that environment where everybody was so miserably unhappy and the people that I was supposed to be getting along with were always looking for different things they could pick apart at you, looking for ways they could complain, looking for things in ways they could get rid of you almost. Is that your way you want to live? Having to constantly be on the offense, having to constantly defend yourself because somebody else is just unhappy with their lives. And I really thought about it. And I'm like, there's no way that this is going to be the rest of my life. And I had a decision to make. Either I could keep taking everything they were giving me, because there's a word I can't say and the word I don't want to say, right? Or I could simply move on, move past it, and try to figure it out. And that's exactly what I did. I ended up trying to move on, trying to move past things, and I'm still trying to figure it out because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know the future. I'm hoping that my account will work out. That's why I'm giving a shot at it. I'm praying that my videos take off. I'm praying that I'm good enough to be on YouTube, to be on this platform, to make a difference in this world, but that doesn't guarantee that I will. And the main thing that I realized is if I were to truly give up and walk away, then my family would have nothing to show for it. There have been days where I've sat alone in my room and thought to myself, man, like, what do I have to do to make this work? What do I have to do to be stronger for my family? Because when you have people that depend on you, there is no luxury. When I was younger, it wasn't easy to get up and go from an environment, whether it was work, whether it was school, anything, and be like, you know what? I don't need to deal with this. Now, when you have responsibilities, when you get older, it's not as easy. And there are times where I still think to myself, man, like, did I make the right decisions? Right? I question a lot of things that I do. Not really because I have to, but because I'm like, okay, how am I gonna figure everything out in my life? And if I'm being honest with you, I still haven't fully figured out that answer. But the answers I have figured out are these. One, I know that no matter what happens in this life, God's always got my back. My family's always going to be there for me. And I have to push myself a lot harder. And two, in order to succeed, no matter what it is, I have to believe that I can first. Now, I know that sounds kind of like corny or like really cheesy or however you want to phrase it, but it's true. If you don't believe in you, how can you expect anybody else to? If you don't watch your own content, how do you expect somebody else to? If you're not proofreading it, right? When you turn in an essay for school, do you just submit the essay after one draft? Or do you look it over? Do you think about it? Do you try to process it? And then do you submit it? And I thought about that when I heard that. Like, do I just try to get it out of the way, or do I really put time and effort into it? And that's when I started changing the way I shoot my content. That's when I got equipment to make it better. I tried to put in my headphones to make better audio. I'm trying little things that are tweaking it in the hopes that before the end of this month, I can make this work, where I don't have to deal with people who never really want to support me in the first place. They're just never happy. They're always trying to put me down. And I'm hoping that these are the right people that I have in my life left, because there have been others that I thought I could really trust. And honestly, after everything, I realized I should never thought that way. I'm not saying to be jaded or to be bothered by people. It's just the fact, when you think you can trust someone, you have to always ask yourself, who are they? And if you can't answer that question, if you don't know anything about them really, if you don't know why their past friendships, either or past relationships with somebody you want to care about, didn't work out, if it's always somebody else, there's a small possibility that you could be a gem. But if I'm being honest with you, if it's a trend, if it's a pattern that you see, then you kind of know what's going to happen. Now, I'm not saying everybody's bad. I'm not saying everybody's good. It's just facts. How do you identify who's somebody you can trust and who's somebody you can't? I used to always think, okay, if somebody looks kind or has kind eyes, I can trust them. That was my mistake. I used to always think, okay, if I do good in this world, no bad will come. But that's never the case. You have to understand who you are as a person. And the reason why I keep looking away from the camera is not that I want you guys to think I'm impatient, I don't care. It's just, it's hard to talk about things when you've always kept everything inside to yourself. Whether it's because you feel like you can't trust anyone, or because people have shown you can't trust them, or if it's just because you can't show emotions, or maybe you just don't want to. I keep all these things inside, and I keep them inside because of the fact that if I were to show them outside, if I were to try to talk to somebody about it, it wouldn't really work out. I got to make it work on my own. My family depends on me. I have way too much riding on this to give up, to not have faith, to not push myself harder, to the point where if I were to just throw in the towel, who would really pick up the pieces? I kept praying to God that I needed help when I realized He's giving me everything I need. I have a phone, I have a roof over my head, and I have food. Those are all things that I really need. If I do not take this chance now, if I do not try my best to really make YouTube work, to put time into my content, and to be a better person, then I'll never get to where I want to be at in life. It's never an easy task, but you know what? I would rather push myself 10 times harder every day than wait around hoping that what I do is good enough. Because I'm not sure. There are a lot of days where I think, okay, I can make this work, I can do this. But there are also a lot of days where I look at myself in the mirror and I go, what am I doing? Who am I kidding? I need to get back to work. I need to do more things. I need to look for a better job, a better place to be. Like, instead of having faith in myself, instead of believing. And that's hard to admit, but it's true. When you're feeling those ways, take a breath, my brothers and sisters out there. Pray. Look back at how far you've come. And when you want a real reality check, ask yourself this. What's making me feel this way? Is it an idea? Is it myself? Or is it all just in my head? Because sometimes we never really know until we ask ourselves the hard questions. Because sometimes nobody else will. And I know I'm not perfect, but I would rather do everything I can to make things work than to simply give up and hope for the best. Because that's never how it's going to work. My brothers and sisters out there, it's a very different style of interview. This is a little harder than I thought it would be. But I thank you, my friend, for giving me the idea. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Style of content I'll be doing if you guys want to hear a little bit more about different stories, different adversities, or just challenges I've had to face and how I overcame them in the hopes that it can help you. Let me know. I hope to hear from you all. I'm grateful for each and every one of you. And for those who actually watch my content, who comment, who engage, you guys help me and motivate me in ways that you don't even understand. So I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to keep showing up. I'll do better on the next one. Thank you for being here. This is episode 1, an interview of how to deal with adversities. Talk to you more later on. Have a great day.